Hi everybody. Today I want to give you some background on my story and how I made the journey to this spot right now for you. In 1991, I was sleeping in my mom's bed. I remember it clearly because doing the simplest move in the middle of the night changed my entire life. You go to bend your knee, just shifting around in the bed, and we think nothing of it. Until that night in 1991, I couldn't turn. I couldn't bend my knee. I woke up in the middle of the night and my knee was so swollen and so hot to the touch, nobody knew what was going on. Instantly, my family scrambled, grabbed me, carried me to the car and through the hospital to start to figure out what was going on. Pediatrics didn't know what to do with my case. They didn't know what they were looking at. And as fast as that first knee swelled up, then came the second, and then was my feet, and then were both ankles, and then came the shoulder, and then it moved to the next shoulder. And all of this time was going by and we still didn't have any answers. Bone marrow after bone marrow aspirations, extreme pain for a child. It was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking for my family. Not only for me, I was so scared. I really didn't know what was going on. I thought my life was over. I was the only person in my family, and it was such a lonely experience. It was a really scary, isolated experience, even with all the support that surrounded me, all the love from my family. Nobody knew what to do. We didn't know how to respond. And then when my hip locked, I was in a wheelchair. I could not straighten my leg. I could not put any pressure on the right side of my body at all. I remember watching my family stress and cry and scramble to keep me comfortable. And I am so grateful today for their strength. Finally, after around 2 years of going undiagnosed and now this disease moving quickly through my little body, the wonderful doctors at Stanford Children's Hospital finally diagnosed me with juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. Now, what does this mean? This is a lifelong sentence. At least that's what I felt. That's what I felt when I had that punch in the gut. Because then here came the medications. Not only was I experiencing this lifelong sentence that was just so disheartening, it made me feel so not normal. I just wanted to be normal. I wanted to run and jump and fall and bruise and break and all of those things that children did. I felt like it was ripped away from me. Then came the medications. Oh, medication after medication. At the peak of my medications, I remember being on over 65 milligrams of prednisone a day. This tore my body up. I was at the heaviest weight I had ever been in my life. I had the most moon face in the land of moon faces. I had it. I had the cheeks. I had the acne. I had the weight gain, and there was nothing I could do about it. There wasn't a single thing because I had to take these medicines while they were trying to figure out what was going to work for me. I remember being so stressed about medications. The anxiety in my body just skyrocketed. It was such a hard experience for a child to have to really think about, to really grow up I had to grow up quickly and wrap my head around the tasks I needed to do to be able to live, even live, not live well, but just live, to be in the land of the living, to be out there working and trying to be normal. So I gave it my best shot. I really did. I sucked it up and I dealt with a lot of pain for a lot of the time. I was insecure and unsure. I didn't know what would come of my life later, what would come of my body. How were my bones going to start to twist and turn as I grew older? So fast forward a little bit, and in the year 2000, I was really doing well in my career. I have always had the heart to go for it and to keep going no matter what obstacles were standing in my way. But somebody with rheumatoid arthritis doesn't need that. They absolutely need to pay attention to their body. They need to listen to what's going on. They need to feel all the feels all the way through so they can figure out how to do something better, to do something that causes less pain, to do something that feels a little more comfortable. I have constantly had to readjust and realign my processes every single year or every minute of the day sometimes, just to stay focused and to stay in the game. So came the year 2000, and this was a huge wake-up call for me. I could barely walk. I was walking on my feet, and it felt like I was walking on rocks. My bones were so deformed because I really gave it my all. I tried my best to stay up with the rest, to keep the pace. And it just wasn't happening for me. So I had finally hit my limit. My doctors let me know that I was going to have a couple years worth of surgeries. It was going to take a tremendous amount of time. They were going to, excuse my words for lack of a better term, I do not know the medical terminology, but they had to break and reset every single bone in my foot. They started with one foot and one ankle, and that process took about a half a year, a little bit more, and then they did the next. And it was during this time, during these dark moments, this was the height of my pain. I have never experienced pain in my body like I did when I started having those surgeries. It made me really slow down. I was stopped in my tracks. They consider people with rheumatoid arthritis usually disabled after 10 years. And here I was going on a little past that 10-year mark. I felt my life was over because here I was. I tried so hard to be normal, and I felt like all it did was put me exactly where they said I was going to be. And I couldn't leave that there. I couldn't just stop and say, that's it. So I used every ounce of light in my soul that I could find to push through. I started with meditation. I slowly started to quiet my mind from the fear and from the discomfort, from the pain. I used every prayer and every ounce of joy I could find throughout my day to keep me motivated, to not lay down and just accept this life sentence, but to actually use it use it to not only bring myself back, but if I could and I made it through, I was going to keep sharing my story. So I am, and here I am. Every single day, I got a little bit stronger. I was a little bit stronger, not physically at first, but mentally, I was a beast. My heart was wide open and I was ready to own it. I needed to find that ownership in this space. I needed to grab control of my health and my mind. Your mind is first, your heart, your mind, and then your body. And that was what turned it around for me. It is extremely remarkable to be in this space today. I prayed for it. I prayed for it and I didn't stop. And all I did was show up every single day. I was committed to my health. I was committed to the life I wanted to not only give myself, but now to my family. I have brought 2 children into my life, into this world during this entire awakening. And they too are along my journey and their own journey. So these mindful techniques and practices, they are lifelong. And I prayed for this. I sit and I think sometimes that all I needed to do was finally let go. I needed to let go of my need to control the outcome, of my need to fit in this bubble or this box of normalcy. And here I am. And I'm here for you. So please do not hesitate if you have any questions at all. It is possible. I sit here today on the least amount of medication I have ever taken in my life. I am the happiest I have ever felt. I am the healthiest I have ever been. And I am finally ready to pay it forward.